Okay, it's time for you to be able to draw the d orbitals on their proper axes. So if this is unfamiliar for you, you can watch and follow along as we work out how to draw each of the possibilities. So for the 5d orbitals, the first one we're going to look at is the dx squared minus y squared orbital. So the x squared minus y squared orbital is in the xy plane, and the lobes are oriented along the x and y axes. And d orbitals are all Gerada, and so we shade it so that the center of inversion is preserved. Now, if we think about doing that on our 3D Cartesian axes, then we're going to draw the lobes so that they are pointed along the x and y axes, and then we'll shade in 2 of the 4 lobes. Okay. The next one we'll talk about is the dz squared orbital. This is my favorite d orbital because it, in addition to the dumbbell-shaped lobes along the z-axis, it also has a torus, or a donut, of opposite shading that is in the xy plane. So if you were to look at this from the top, then you'd see the unshaded part of the orbital, and then the torus would be sort of around that. So you're looking down from above. Okay, so for the dxy orbital, so this orbital looks like the dx squared minus y squared orbital, but instead of the lobes being oriented along the axes, instead they're oriented between the axes. Okay, so if we draw that on our 3D Cartesian coordinates, we're going to draw it so that these are kind of in between the x and y plane, so that this way we could imagine that this orbital is sort of flat, coming out toward us. Next orbital we'll do is the yz orbital. So this orbital is in the yz plane with opposite lobes shaded. So on our diagram, this orbital will be sort of on its end between the x and z axes. All right. And then finally, we'll look at the xz orbital. Now this one is going to be in the xz plane, which is the plane of the screen between the axes. So here we'll draw it again between the axes so that we're facing it kind of head on. Okay, so there are our 5D orbitals on their Cartesian axes. You can see that my drawings are not amazing. You don't have to be perfect about this, but I want you to on your own paper, to practice drawing these orbitals so that you can start to visualize them in 3D space.